Hello and welcome to Channel 42. I am your pleasant and intellectual, wise and sexy host, Fox Wild. Today I am covering the Whatever Podcast, show number 265. Now I have actually watched the entirety of this episode. Let me tell you, wow, there is so much to unpack in this episode. There's no way I could cover the entirety of the show in one episode. I could do 2, 3, maybe even 4 of my little half hour. I try to keep them half hour because 15 minutes just doesn't seem to work out. Shows on just covering what this one Whatever Podcast covers. It's 8 hours and I could probably do 16 hours of content off of it. They are very involved in some aspects, especially this one. This one goes well beyond your average Whatever Podcast. Brian had a very diverse panel, and they really got a lot deeper than what you get when you just have the 304s on there that have those of pages where they girls that claim you can't afford them, yet they're $12.99 to $4.99 when they're discounted. Girls that come at a discount. Interesting, very interesting. We can't afford them. B as in B, S as in S. Anyways, episode 265 of the Whatever Podcast. Check it out to see the entirety of the podcast. What I am covering today is women and the way they deny responsibility, dodge accusations, and won't take accountability for their own actions. In short, how much they lie. Now, a lot of this comes from my personal experience in 13 years of marriage and however many years of dating. I worked more than I dated, but I'm going to start out by letting you hear the introductions of the entire panel, and then I'm going to focus in primarily on Chair 1. She calls herself Soph. Her real name, her full name is Sophia, which she apparently doesn't like. But this girl, now she says, oh, I know I'm not very feminine, I've got this masculine energy, and no, it's a very feminine, a very female energy, because being abrasive, being boisterous, being annoying and loud, that's a female trait. Just look at the feminists on the street when they scream in your face. There's not men that are doing that, that's women. The way she acts is highly female, very feminine in its coarse side. Let's begin with the introductions of the panel.
Tell us your name, age, occupation, where you're from, and education. Go ahead.
My name is Soph. I'm 19. I'm a seasonal stagehand and traveler, and I'm originally from South Florida. I recently graduated for a trade school for audio engineering called Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences in Phoenix, Arizona.
And you're a musician, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My name is Shay. I am from San Diego. I am currently a UCSB student. I am going to be doing poli-sci major with a minor in math.
My name is Mahi. I'm from the Chicago suburbs, and I'm also a UCSB student, and I'm 18. And my major is psych and brain.
Hey, my name's Bree. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I have been a matchmaker / dating coach for the last 5+ years.
My name's Hannah. I'm 26. I'm from San Diego, and I studied entrepreneurship and architecture at NYU. Now I work at a fintech startup doing operations.
I'm Bella. I'm from Los Angeles, also the San Fernando Valley. Oh my God! Valley girl! Like, totally! Valley girl! Encino's like so bitchin'. Valley girl! Yeah. I go to Santa Barbara Community College, and I'm studying communications. I'm 19.
19, gotcha.
Hi, I'm Kennedy. I'm 20 and I study communications in Santa Barbara and I own a clothing line.
I'm Karina. I'm 33. I just turned 33 last week, this past week. I'm a repossession agent from South Florida. I've been doing that for 5 years. I recently got saved.
Joe had a girlfriend named Mary. She used to go to the church club, hold hands, link your thoughts.
So I'm a newborn, born-again Christian as of a year and a half ago. So I do a lot of ministry work via social media and online coaching.
Now I let Chair 8, already forgot her name, she's that irrelevant to me, go on a bit and tell a bit about what she does and her little perspective and being born again. I'm Jewish, so needless to say, I got issue with that. It's complete B as in B, S as in S, and that's a whole nother topic, whole nother kettle of fish, but the reason I included that is because in another video, I'm going to be delving into her and a little bit about some of the things she says and her little story. I'm kind of thinking maybe a humorous take on it, but who knows? It's me. I may go all wild and crazy on it. But that's why I included her, just so I could do a little teaser on what I'm going to do with her, because yeah, she's also the only one on the panel. If you watched my previous video where I have the clips teasing this video, she's also the only one who, after she became a born-again Christian and fell in love with baby Jesus, that she closed down her OnlyFans. So a year and a half she'd been saved, and then Brian asked her, so you've shut down your OnlyFans for a year and a half ago? No, it took a little while. Yeah, hard to give that money up. Anyways, moving on. Sophia, or Soph as she calls herself, is the subject or topic of this video. The girl is a flat-out liar. And you'll see this, guys, with a lot of girls. When you see this tendency, it comes in many different forms and fashions. How they lie. This is something you want to avoid. These are your serious red flags when dealing with women. You may hear when you're trying to have a discussion with them, and they'll say things, well, yeah, but, and then try to re-explain. They say something, and you call them out on it, and then they're like, well, what I really meant was, and then they try to rephrase it. What they're doing is manipulating you with their words by manipulating the truth and what they said. They're trying to tailor-make it to fit the situation, to try and please you. So you'll buy what they're selling. And Sophia here, she's a prime example. She's just not a master like my former ex-wife. Well, I guess I can't really call her a master because it was so blatantly bad. And she'd say, well, yeah, but, well, you see, what I really meant was, you hear things like that and they try to redirect it, and you're trying to talk about something specific, and they'll want to talk about this broad picture while you're focusing in on one particular thing. And when you're looking at a broad picture, where they want to focus in on one thing, they want to do anything except look at themselves. And Sophia is, I could do a couple episodes just on her content. And I kind of had to, this is a little bit choppy, I apologize for that. I've been 2 days on this, but other things happened. Electronics are such a pain in the ass, especially when they involve banking. Know what I mean, Ver? Hey, Ver. Know what I mean? But she is very typical of the childish mindset of the human female. In the Tanakh, starting with the Torah, many times Hashem refers to women as being like babes. Now, he's not meaning that in a complimentary section, like, hey babe. babes as in children, baby in a infantile state, because they have the reasoning and logic of children, and you will see this exemplified in Soph or Sophia. And please take note of her not masculine, rented lips, not masculine, but just simply abrasive and grating personality and attitude, her persona that she puts up, her constant denials. Here's Soph and her perpetual lying. She begins out with it right away.
I'm gonna do a couple
you're right. I do kind of
shout-outs.
smell like I always smoke cigarettes. I don't even smoke cigarettes. Let me have a smoke break or some shit. Oh, you're right. Maybe I do need a smoke break.
First, she denies smoking cigarettes. Then she says, I need a smoke break. This is the child mentality of many women. Now, I'm saying this generally across the board because it's probably between 80 and 90%. This is not to include women like the Lady J. Here's a woman who knows her limitations and is exceptional. She's not typical, she's atypical. And she knows her limits and she doesn't step beyond that. She's got a good prowess of reasoning because she's probably observed this, been bit in the ass by it, and probably had a strong male figure in her rearing. But that's not all to Soph's lying.
I'm a seasonal stagehand and traveler.
And you're a musician, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All bright white lights. I don't know, there's a lot of like police interrogation tactics, like the bright overhead lights going right on you.
The bright lights, I don't know if you've ever been on a film set, but these are actually, while bright,
they could be brighter, I'm aware of that, yeah.
actually, there's way more like, I don't know if you've ever done anything on stage where the light.
Now, I've been on a film set, been on the outside. It's not that so bad when you're doing outside shots, but when you're on a filming stage or set, yeah, those lights are bright. And that's just the food lights. And then there's, the Canon lights and super, there's a lot of lights. Can't have shadows in certain areas. Got to make it look like the outdoors. Now, mind you, I've never been a huge professional actor, but I've been involved in small ways in where they're actually filming. And it is very bright. Then there's plays. I have been in a few plays. I am also a political speaker because I ran for office. And okay, the smaller venue, not nearly as bright. They didn't have the super troopers and cannon lights blasting you and the suspended lights from, well, they did have the suspended lights, but they weren't nearly as bright as when it's on a professional film studio or when you're on stage with a band. That's kind of interesting that she went to college for being a band sound person, and she's also said she's a musician and that she's performed, and she's a stagehand, she's a roadie. Yet she's never been around a stage with bright lights. Okay, I'm not a musician. I cannot sing, and I play the harmonica fairly decently, maybe. I probably suck. But I have been around some major bands working security and doing other things, sometimes in the sound booth, and you have to get down on stage. Let me tell you, AC/DC, when they put on a show, there's a lot of lights. I've seen Avenged Sevenfold. Avenged Sevenfold, they had a major light show. I got to watch that one from the stands. I wasn't down, but I could look and see, wow, that's a lot of lights, because they had an amazing light show. And when you're on that stage, Brian's going to say, you can't even see the audience. Yet this chick, who is a performer and a stagehand, somehow is totally oblivious to how bright the lights on a stage are.
And I've talked to a couple girls, and they kind of say the same thing. To be fair, then again, I didn't look at any of these podcasts coming in before. I thought this was a dating podcast. Like, y'all were gonna ask us some silly, crazy questions about like some dating experiences. But we're really doing like a deep dive into feminism. And to be honest, I'm not equipped for this. I was not mentally prepared to dive into a whole debate on gender roles. And you know what? Although I'm rolling with the punches, to be honest, I thought this was gonna be like some real silly, just casual banter. I was not equipped.
How could that possibly be the case when you even admitted yourself that you talked to 3 girls or a few girls who had been on the show before? So on one hand, you're playing this sort of game where you say, well, Brian, I didn't know what I was getting into. But on the other hand, you talked to girls who've been on the show who told you what you're getting into.
My man Brian, spot on. Now, I'd never be invited to be on the whatever podcast because, well, like Soph says in her introduction video, she's got tatas and a vajayjay, so yeah, she's eligible to be on the show. And I'm not a tatted up freak, because the only men I've seen on there outside of the chain smoker is some tatted up freak who didn't really say much. Hey Brian, you want an opinionated kike on your panel? I'd have to sit with you because I wouldn't want to sit too close to the 304s. They're contagious. Crabs crawl, crabs crawl. Anyways, I caught it from the toilet seat. A little Frank Zappa. But first she says she was totally unaware. She then says she talked to some girls ahead of time. She keeps making the claim she's never seen the show. Watch the entire episode. I don't have all of that in here. You'll just have to take my word for it or fact check me. Watch the whatever podcast episode number 265. And you will hear her say that she had no idea. She'd never watched an episode yet. She knew who this one girl was. This Kybra. She knew who Kybra was, saw the episode with her. So that kind of is contradictory to her statements. But she's starting to feel uneasy. She's getting put on the spot and thinking that she's being attacked, and she's not really. He's just calling her out on some of the statements. And this is what women do. You catch them in something, you try to get them to explain it, and they're just talking out their dirt chute, and they really don't have anything to back it up. In this, if you watch the whole episode, you watch her hands. She starts with just playing with her lip piercing or just rolling her tongue and kind of chewing on spit, I guess. And then there's the cup thing. She keeps playing with that cup. She's nervous as 304 in church. I can say that, right? Wouldn't put her in temple, that's for sure. Anyways, but she starts showing some serious signs of being very, very nervous and highly caught. Clacking the cup and just moving it around, has to get water. Now, if you see these type of things, she even tries to do a little bit of the bird hands thing that the host of Ho Math, check out his channel, the guy does some great work, mentions the bird hands. And it's like, you have to believe me, man. And the main thing she relies on is her what she perceives as masculine energy, being loud, distracting, and she really is built on a foundation of sand with her statement. She's just quicksand, to be exact, because she sinks fast. And she turns to the typical female strategy. Watch this and see if you can catch what I mean.
Secondly,
I talked to them literally a couple hours before then, so I had like 2 hours to be like,
right.
Oh shit.
Now,
it's the denied deflect. What I meant was, that's what I was talking about earlier. It's that little ploy. It's trying to change what they say to realign to what you want to hear. They don't want to tell you the truth. They want to tell you what you want to hear that'll make you back off. That's a huge female tactic in their pathetic attempts to debate, because they really don't know how to debate. They only know how to argue and deflect. She immediately goes to the deflecting, yeah, but what I really meant was, well, but you see, that type of thing. Well, it was only 2 hours, a couple of girls, 2 hours before I started. Tear. And then she says she thought it would be silly and it wouldn't be as deep as it turned out to be, and I'm glad it was as deep. It wasn't a lot of this, fluff stuff that you see with the panel that when it's, these tatted up girls that have been rode like the New York subway. They actually got into some pretty good stuff. Episode 265, give it a watch. And then she turns around later and says that everything he's been talking about is really superficial. Which, how can something be deep and meaningful, or deep, let's just stick with deep, and also be superficial? That's female logic at work. That's the skinny brain of a female. Not a lot of logical reasoning outside of that of a child's.
Maybe this is just because sitting in one conversation and talking about, from what it seems to me, are very superficial frat sorority, boy girl, at least from my perspective, under this white light for like 8 hours straight.
I'm offended on her behalf that you're throwing sorority girls under the bus. This is
no. It's
really
just
rude,
that you're like
really rude to Greek life. Okay, Greek life.
Nothing wrong with Greek life.
Plenty of high IQ conversations happening at SIGAP. Trust me, big high IQ conversations happening at SIGAP, at ATO, at I don't know the other frats, Beta.
Delta.
First she says she thought it would be silly stuff about dating. Then she contradicts herself, saying she wasn't expecting to get into something deep about other stuff. But she keeps calling it about dating and then chastises Brian, wrongfully, typical of women, for being in the Greek life and talking about things that, well, it's a podcast about dating and life, and it involves typically younger people, which college-age people are going to be members of frats and going to college and be aware of that kind of stuff. And he's obviously older, and if you're bringing these people on, you're sure not going to be talking about upper finance, business management, or politics, and various other things. Now, during part of this, and maybe I'll find it and stick it in, I don't know if I kept it, but Felicity, the long-haired blonde with the too revealing outfit, very form-fitting. It's like, why didn't you just paint it on? Kind of gives her that 304 look. Anyways, I'm sure she's a very nice girl. I just object to the outfit because I know she's a nice solid C cup, and I shouldn't. The most modestly dressed one on the panel, and I will give her kudos for this one, is Sophia herself. The whole point of this conversation that they're having is she started it when Felicity came in, when Brian had to step away. She started asking some questions about when did World War I start, when did World War II start, and some things on that topic, just filler stuff. And during this time, Sophia picked to critique the show and file some verbal complaints about various things. When she left, Brian said to her, hey, when you come back to the table, I'd like to cover your criticisms. And she agreed and clearly regretted it.
But you brought all this up. This originated with you. I stepped away. You got up. You got up.
Come back ready to talk about, join the conversation that we're having. But the moment I step back in, it's like, I was trying to contribute to their conversation, like.
Yeah, no, but when you were back there, I said, hey, when you come back, and before you left, you said you needed a breather.
I did.
We said we would revisit the conversation so you could have the breather and then finish off the conversation. I'm being good faith. I said, I just want to have the convo. And then we'll move right, you're just stalling, you're delaying. We'll move right back into the dating conversation. But I think it's fair when you like, I step away from the podcast and
It's
you're
just
like,
a lot of this to
yo,
me seems
fuck this
like
podcast.
really superficial, especially considering that like a 36-year-old man is leading a full-grown conversation, almost like really like gritting into like 18, 19-year-old girls about our relationship with birth and sex, and we're still
birth and
discovering this
sex.
process. And every time we make a remote flaw and lapse in judgment, it's just look, maybe.
And while she was away in the bathroom, this is what I was talking about earlier, the sisterhood coming to back her up and more of the typical female games and the, trying to play both sides.
I think she brought it up because the questions were about geography and world wars, history. So a lot of us haven't been in school for 10 plus years, which, that seemed like a gotcha. I think that was just her point in bringing it up once you left.
Felicity asks, but you would acknowledge that was like a 3-minute filler conversation that she undertook while I was gone, and the 99% of the rest of the time of the podcast has been mostly
about dating,
dating related.
I agree.
So, you had something? Go ahead.
Yeah, look, I think she's young and I think she's inexperienced, and
Sisterhood. Go ahead.
No, seriously though. I want to stand up for her because she's obviously brought up the fact that like she's had issues with men. And look, I think you've been nothing but respectful. I think you have done your part as a host. Like I have absolutely nothing bad to say about you or anything that you've done. But I also want to kind of stand in the middle for her as well, because she's clearly uncomfortable. She's clearly young. She's clearly inexperienced.
She wasn't uncomfortable when I was gone.
She's uncomfortable. No. She's uncomfortable.
When I was gone.
Hold on.
And she had no problem amongst the women who weren't going to push back.
Brian. She's uncomfortable with men. She's talked about it. I understand. I'm just trying to quell things, and I can see that you're clearly irritated, which is fair.
A little bit.
And which is fair. I'm like validating your feelings.
Validating his feelings. Men don't need our feelings validated. Our feelings in the end don't matter. Taking accountability for our actions, that's what matters.
How is this funny? This is not funny. She's clearly uncomfortable. She's like about to cry, and I get you're also uncomfortable and you're also perturbed. Like I get it. I get both sides. However, like just try to give her a little bit of a break. That's all I'm saying. It's not about feminism. I am not a feminist in any regard.
Well,
but
that's up for debate. But
I'm not.
She clearly is a feminist, and she's clearly trying to placate Brian, and just so he doesn't come after her and her viewpoint, she's trying to play both sides. And all that she wants to do is defend the other woman.
Well, I wasn't all that irritated. Like, people have criticisms of the show. I don't really care.
Just irritated with each other.
I was irritated that she kind of started wanting to put on the tears, and like.
Was she crying?
Well, not maybe that's an exaggeration, but getting emotional as like an escape. I'm so tired. Blah blah blah. Oh my God, it's like. At least back up your position, Anyways.
Some people, I don't know, just more sensitive, I guess.
Do you think so?
Yeah, some people are more sensitive. I know girls that I would never invite here because they're way too sensitive and would get offended.
All right, we have Pelagic here. Brian, it was clear. Bro, this was such a mistake that this girl said. The chair 4 said this. Because now it's like, okay, I'm going to console you for 30 minutes in the bathroom.
Yeah, where did
when she would have been,
panel,
this is why I'm like, whenever I'm upset, I don't want to be consoled. Just let me chill out for 10 minutes and then I'm good. I don't want to, let's talk about it. No, not really.
Brian, you want a hug?
A big bear hug from the hike.
Yeah.
No, but that thing, I feel like sometimes if somebody's upset, just let them fucking cool off for 5-10 minutes. Now she's like, I'm going to affirm all your feelings and let's have a fucking therapy session in the whatever podcast bathroom.
Therapy doesn't work.
Anyways, these are some traits that you have to watch for, men. If you're dating a woman and she starts doing some of these things, You need to get out of the situation because they're only going to get worse. And if you try to nip them in the bud or address them, and the only thing you get is all kinds of feminine blowback, queefing from your woman, and how she won't take any accountability, keep looking. They're not all like this. Some, you may have to work with them a little bit, but they'll come around to daddy's way of thinking. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. That's kind of gross. But to understand and not necessarily agree, but understand that they may not understand why we're saying the things that we do or why we do the things that we do, and they're not going to. They just have to accept them. That is the key, that they can admit they don't understand something, and they're probably not going to, so they default to, I will just accept it. That's all I have for this episode. I'm going to cover more. There is so much to cover in this episode. Please like and subscribe and smash that notification button bell in the face. Sniper Wolf, I like the way she says it. And as always, you can donate and help support my cause. I need new computer stuff and software. Mine's 15 years old, so if you'd be a dear and help me out, it would be greatly appreciated. You can do that via PayPal at paypal.me/foxwild42. Any donations I get, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. And for novels written by the Foxy One, you can visit wattpad.com. That's watt.com/foxwild42, as well as Inkit, inkitt.com/foxwild42. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and please stay tuned, like and subscribe, and turn on notifications so the next video where I dive into another segment of this very podcast by Brian Atlas and the Whatever Show when it becomes available. I've got some other little things cooking in the back, got some shorts to get out, and yeah, you might want to be checking those out if you like my content. Until then, have a good one. Watch for those red flags and be wary of the women you're with, men. Semper Fi, Semper Paratus.
Away, the moor is dark beneath the moon. Rapid clouds have drank the last pale beam of even. Away, the gathering winds will call the darkness soon, and profoundest midnight shroud the serene lights of heaven. Pause not, the time is past. Every voice cries, away! Tempt not with one last tear thy friend's ungentle mood. Thy lover's eye, so glazed and cold, dares not entreat thy stay. Duty and dereliction guide thee back to solitude. Away, away, to thy sad and silent home. Pour bitter tears on its desolate hearth. Watch the dim shades as like ghosts they go and come, and complicate strange webs of melancholy mirth. The leaves of wasted autumn woods shall float around thine head. The blooms of dewy spring shall gleam beneath thy feet. But thy soul or this world must fade in the frost that binds the dead. Ere midnight's frown and morning's smile, ere thou and peace may meet. The cloud shadows of midnight poses their own repose, for the weary winds are silent, or the moon is in the deep. Some respite to its turbulence unresting ocean knows. Whatever moves or toils or grieves hath its appointed sleep. Thou in the grave shall rest, yet till the phantoms flee, which that house and hearth and garden made dear to thee Erewhile. Thy remembrance and thy repentance and deep musings are not free from the music of two voices and the light of one sweet smile.
I'm so